and a good day or a good night to you, and welcome back to Going Overboard. Today's project is featuring Kita wood dye. I have some cedar wood that I'm dyeing a blue color, trying to get the color of the Seattle Seahawks uniform. I used the Kita dye mixed with isopropyl alcohol, which really allows me to blend the color well. My first pass here was with blue. It wasn't quite the color that I was looking for. It's a little lighter, although when you do put your top coat on, it will get darker. But I mixed my next batch with a little black, and that one turned out really good. I'll first prep my wood using 80 grit, followed by 150, then 220, to make sure I get all the sand marks, all the scratches out, because the dye will settle in there. It won't look as good. Plus, when it's smoother, you're able to blend the dye better. So there's the finished product. I think the color really came out good. It was exactly what I was looking for. And so now it's on to the hole drilling. And I always like to put some contact paper down, because later I'm going to paint the marble holes. And this really saves you grief because it acts as like a stencil, a barrier. I just use regular old contact paper, and it seals really good, so when I paint the marble holes I don't have to worry about bleed over. Before I do that though, I'll actually use a top coat of polyurethane to seal the board. Otherwise the contact paper tends to peel up some of the dye and can leave some quite unsightly marks in your board. So once I get all the holes nicely drilled, it's on to painting. And like I said, the contact paper really saves you a lot of grief, because if you go outside of the circle, it's really going to be difficult to clean up. It involves sanding, and that's going to ruin your dye job. When you try to touch it up, it's going to look blotchety. Is blotchety a word? It is now, right? But having the contact paper really does save a lot of grief. And as you can see, it came out nice and clean. So happy with that. And now I'll cut out my sides. And a little hack I learned a couple weeks ago was using blue tape where I run the saw. With cedar, it tends to chip out, much like plywood. And while I can tolerate a little bit of that, because I'm going to put an edge detail all around, if it goes more than 1/4 inch, I'm in trouble. But I'll do a close-up here. You can really see that just using the blue tape yields a nice sharp line. Like I said, it'll still chip out a little bit, but after I follow up with my router, it cleans up the edge really good. I'll hit the sides of the sander, round my corners here, make a nice smooth surface for the router, which I fire up right here. And as you can see, this will take care of minimal chip outs, but anything over 1/4 inch, the blade's not going to take it off. But with the blue tape, came out just fine. Now with this project, I actually did quite a bit of stencil work. As I give a little screen recording shot here of my cricut at work, I was going to attempt a 3-stage stenciling of the Seahawks new logo. And a convenient feature of the cricut allows you to format the stencil. As you can see here, it'll break it down into its individual parts, which you can subtract. And so it's going to allow me to do 3 different versions of the same stencil. That first one there, I pretty much took everything out so I could lay a white base coat, followed up by one that'll allow me to paint the eyes, and then finally the complete stencil, which I'll do in black so that I have a multicolored logo. You see it, so I'll do the white base first, and then I'll follow that up again, like I said, with the eyes. And it worked out really good. I had to cut out part of the stencil there just to make sure I had a window so that I could overlay the stencils one over the other, perfectly matched, otherwise that would cause some problems. And so that came out good. You got to have a steady hand, but patience did the trick. And so I was really pleased how that came out, which you'll see in just a moment. Anyway, let me take this opportunity to thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you got an idea for a gift that you could make for somebody.